All right, YouTube, I'm here with LuckyWhammy, the best magician player in North America. Introduce yourself, LuckyWhammy.
Hello, everyone. LuckyWhammy here. I try my best to work with what Magician has got, and boy, oh boy, I can't wait for Buzz to come eventually.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I played magician a little bit, and I'm not gonna lie, he definitely needs the buffs. You were in chat when I was talking about my little 10 matches that I had to do with magician. Homie can't kill. But you know what? This is what this video is here for. So you're gonna talk me through magician's toolkit, like what he's really good at, what you don't like about him, what you do like about him. Um, and we're gonna break down a matchup, as you guys can see on the screen, between two phenomenal Japanese players. The cookie and can Japanese player is named Saki. By the way, this is all Google Translate, so hopefully I'm not butchering you guys' names. If you watch this video, I'm sorry. But yeah, the cookie and can is named Saki, and the magician that we're seeing on the screen is Saya. Okay, and yeah, they're really high level players. As you can
It's
see, Saki is what is that highest rank? What's that called? Whammy?
challenger
Challenger.
rank,
And then the red
and I
one is what?
believe master. That
Master.
said, I believe Saya is one of, if not the best magician player in Japan.
Okay, there we go. So you got the best magician player in NA. About to break down the best magician player in Japan and see if you can point out some things that Saya might not be doing that you were doing, and some good things that you see Saya doing that you'll probably incorporate in your gameplay. But even before we start with the matchup breakdown, just real quick character discussion type stuff. Tell me how Magician is in the meta. Like, how do you feel about Magician? Think he's a good character? You think he's a bad character? The floor is yours, man.
So to start off, I think overall in America, Magician is better currently than in Japan. And the reason why I say that is just because our meta game for certain characters has not fully developed. I think for the most part in America, this game has started to take off in the last 2 months with it coming to Steam. But in Japan, it's been there for at least 2 years, going strong.
Right.
Now, with that being the case, you have a lot of characters that are usually underplayed or their meta is underdeveloped. So when people play against those characters, they don't know what to do because they just don't see the character a lot. In that regard, I
That
think
was me.
Magician
Week
falls
one, week one and two.
exactly. Um, well, so one of those characters that falls into that category is Magician. So although a lot of people, their first experience or their a couple first time experience playing Magician might feel is very strong, the way Magician thrives in advantage state is he's going to get his kills that the opponent doesn't expect from different setups.
Mm-hmm.
And the more and more that you play against Magician, the more you'll recognize how he's getting those setups to start, and the less you'll be caught off guard, and the more you'll see, oh,
Yeah.
Magician. The reason why Magician's killing me early is because I get hit by a statue at like 100 or like 80.
Yeah.
So if I don't get hit by that statue, how else is he going to kill me? And then it starts to lead into a problem where many characters in the past from other platform fighters, they run into a problem where they don't kill early enough so that the opponent has more and more time to adapt to that gameplay style that they're using.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
Magician's one of those characters that the longer that your opponent has to analyze what you're doing, the less openings or chances that you'll get in neutral. Um, with that being the case, though, I still think there's room to improve. For example, I think it was a couple of maybe a week ago or so, talking with some Japanese players, they didn't understand to what extent Magician's crouch could go underneath.
Yeah, I remember you telling
Um,
me that.
and so,
Actually,
uh,
before they knew that, they had magician in their tier list. They had magician ranked at the bottom of the tier list, right? Like literally the worst character.
I think Miko was right behind, but I think there are also some tier lists where Magician is actually dead last.
Sheesh. Okay.
Which is funny because of the crouch. You have character matchups where Magician struggles against majority of the cast, except for some top tier or high tier characters where Magician gives them a run for their money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with that, transitioning that
I mean, you could put those
into,
characters on blast right now, bro. Like, I think the jig is up. I think most people know now.
I mean, the main one, Civi.
Mm-hmm.
Magician has Civi's number, and it's not even really. it it is Civi's hardest matchup because Civi has a not fun time dealing with hat. Most moves that Civi can hit hat with, or spinning hat with,
Yeah.
he trades, and if that trade, that means Magician can follow up off of it. The second thing is Magician's crouch ducks underneath most of the combo starters that Civi wants to use, or tools that Civi wants to use neutral. I mean, up tilt doesn't hit when Magician's crouching. That's insane.
Yeah. One of his primary combo starters. Absolutely.
You also run into a situation where dash grabs don't work, but standing grabs will, and that means that Civi's mobility starts to get. The Civi player has played a very unique style for that matchup. Not to say that that is a hamper to his game plan, but it makes it more in Magician's favor than a lot of other matchups that Civi has.
Right. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I know you were mentioning a couple other characters, but we can move on from that right now.
Yeah.
So the main thing I want to talk about is, I guess, the main thing that makes Magician just not the greatest character is pretty much the ability to kill, right? He has sweet spots that he has to hit, which are not easy to hit. And then if you don't get those sweet spots, you're really not killing the opponent if they know the matchup. As you said before, if they don't know the matchup, you can do statue setups, which you're incredibly good at. You're probably the best Magician player at like setting up double statues and whatnot. So, like I said, if Magician doesn't get the sweet spots, he can't kill. So is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's in most matchups, the opponent, especially if they're a heavyweight, the opponent's not going to die till after 140, and getting your opponent to 140 from continuous times in neutral just becomes harder and harder the higher level that your opponent becomes. I will say the only other thing I'd like to see more Magicians implement is the hat to up special confirms. Because if there's a platform on stage, Magician could rob a stock. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I'd rather rob a stock at like 70 or 60 than try to fight someone or get a kill shot around 140.
Right. Okay. No. Okay, that makes sense. And I'm probably just gonna put it on the screen because some people that might be watching the video don't really know that setup. So I guess in editing, I'll just add a clip of that working, where you get a hat setup, spinning hat, hit the opponent to up B confirm. So, all right. What's Magician's worst moves? Go.
Jab. Literally, and everyone could walk out of it by holding the opposite direction. And the moment I saw that, I said, "Oh, we can't use jab anymore." I think anytime, anytime I've used jab, it's more so just because I realize the opponent doesn't realize that they could just hold the opposite direction.
Jeez, that's pretty bad.
That's one of his worst grounded options, which I don't think is a very good thing to have a bad jab in this game. His second worst option probably would have to be a tie between his nair and his up air. I don't think his up air. It's like, the reason I say tie is because there are certain angles where you can hit the sweet spot with up air relatively easily. That sweet spot's not killing even at 140. So
damn, even 140 at the sweet spot.
Yes. It is a very, very sad time when you land that up air, you hear the sweet spot, you're like, nice, and then you see your opponent fly, and then they just are still alive, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, no, it makes sense because like in a game like Flash Party where so many characters have kill confirms that can kill sub under like 100. You got a character in Magician where you can't get a guaranteed kill until 140 plus, if that. That's, yeah, I mean, even if your other tools are just so good, the lack of the ability to kill consistently is just always going to make a character not great in this game.
Yeah.
But that's more so on the negative side. So, character, what's his best moves? Like, name two,
the best, probably the best move that Magician has is down tilt. Granted, that's tied because his crouch is so low, and he can just act out of it really fast, but it's a fast move, it pops him up, it's good, get out my face tool.
Right.
Probably the best one that he has. His second best move, or I'd probably say, is hat spin. I don't see it used enough, or at least my Magician's playing around hat enough. but that's usually just because crouch hasn't been implemented as much as I'd like to see around a lot of Magician's gameplay. Hat spin allows you to combo, another combo confirm that forces your opponent to shield when they deal with it, or use a reflector if they have that option available to them. That said, hat spin's one of those things I'd like to see implemented more because a lot of characters don't like dealing with that hat.
Right. Okay, so obviously you only have 2 slots when you're playing any match with colorful stickers. What are his best colorful stickers to use depending on certain matchups? I guess you can say for against zoners you'd use this, and against assaulters you'd use this, etc.
So there's always one colorful sticker that is mandatory when playing Magician. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't mandatory. It's Teleport Master. Normally, Magician can use his up special to teleport horizontally while he's on the ground.
Yeah.
Teleport Master allows him to have that same ability, but in the air, and that's all it does. And you look at it, you're like, wow, he can't do that naturally.
Exactly. That seems like he should just straight up have that off the bat. Hopefully he gets a new colorful sticker and that gets implemented into his basic toolkit, but that seems pretty important for Magician because, like, bro, if you get sent off horizontally, it's kind of like good night for Magician.
Yes, very much so. Aside from that, there is another colorful sticker that is dependent on matchup. So zoners usually don't like to fight against reflectors or having their projectiles sent back at them. So impressionists, where his crouch, while he still becomes a reflector, is very useful in matchups against zoners. Not sure how useful it is against Cookie and Can, but I guess it can still work its magic. There's another sticker that's useful against most of the other casts and helps with getting statue setups or statue confirms, and that's Midas Touch. Midas Touch allows you to spawn a golden statue or move your hat by using a card to flip your hat. When using a card to flip your hat, guarantees a golden statue, and as long as there's a golden statue as your last statue that you created, you can always spawn a second hat to get another statue out.
Yeah, that's how you became so very famous for your double statue setups.
Oh yes, I throw out the golden statue, put out the hat, throw the card into the statue to flip the hat. Boom, I got another golden statue, which means that I get another hat.
All right, so before we get to the video, one last question. So say the devs are listening to you right now, bro. What changes, what buffs do you think Magician needs to make him a viable, let's say, high tier character?
The changes I would want to see to Magician to make him a viable high tier character, maybe a drastic change, but I'd like to remove the sweet spot requirements and just make them predetermined knockback hit, or not predetermined knockback hits, but a knockback growth hits.
Right.
I'd rather my aerials be useful at any percent, and be reliable to get a kill when it gets later, even if it's just 1 or 2 aerials I can rely on to get that kill, versus only the one which he currently has being back air. I'd like to see that change, because then that will make it so those card confirms are not necessarily just hoping or praying that my opponent DIs into the sweet spot. It's now, okay, cool, at this percent this will happen, they'll be launched at this angle, guaranteed. The other change that, again, I think it would be neat to see. That being said, I understand that it could turn the entire game on its head if up special had set knockback when he was in the air. The reason why I understand it is a double-edged sword, because although I think it would be a great tool for Magician to have, it could also make him a little bit better than a high tier character, to say the least.
I mean, listen, I'm all for it. That was actually one of the changes I believe I suggested to you, right?
Yes.
I think that one's a good one.
If we were to do a different one, a little bit more tame, I'd want his back throw, especially his empowered back throw, to send more horizontal than it does vertical. Because at the current moment, unless you have enough stickers on, your opponent doesn't have the defense stickers for throwing.
Yeah.
That back throw, even if it's empowered, does not feel equivalent to other impeders. Especially if you look at some impeders, to name a few, whether it's Chili or Cookie and Can, they get a back throw from center stage, and you're just like, oh, I could die here. Magician gets a back throw from center stage, and you're like, I'm fine. I just lost neutral.
Yeah, pretty much. And Magician's not gonna go off the stage to edge guard you because he's gonna have trouble making it back as well.
Yes. So I prefer the throw and the aerials. Don't get me wrong. I would love for the set knockback on the up special in the air, but that seems
make a world of difference. Yeah, that
be,
just might make him over the top. But you know, try it out. I mean, if it turns out that it's broken, we can nerf it. But like, I just want to see. I want to live in a world where that aerial. That's the thing. You know what I mean? I want to see that confirmed.
That would make Magician a lot more interesting to watch, I will say.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like a more useful rest. Doesn't kill quite as early as rest, but it's definitely more dynamic.
Yes.
And safer. So okay, let's get into this video, man.
I'm definitely very, very interested to see exactly how this gameplay is going to be, and the reason why I say that is just because Cookie and Can, the more and more that I play or experiment with him, the more and more he feels like the premier zoner. At least aside from the Mr. 5 shenanigans that we currently have going on, but that will be addressed soon enough.
Right, literally tomorrow. But quickly before I start the video, this video was uploaded by Saki. I'm gonna have the link to his channel in the description. Give him a follow or subscribe, because honestly he has amazing Flash Party content that he consistently uploads. And yeah, he's just a freaking phenomenal player, like seriously. So check out his content. He only doesn't play with just Cookie and Can, plays with a ton of characters. And yeah, I'm using his footage. I'm only gonna show the last match because I feel like, you know, both players had enough time to adapt, so we're getting like a little bit more in-depth look into neutral, seeing that they know what each player might be looking for. So we're only gonna review the last match. All right, so let's get it started. Also, Whammy, if you want me to pause so you want to like explain something, just let me know, and then, you know,
no worries. We definitely start to see Magician trying to set up a solid edge pressure. At the same point in time, we also see Cookie and Can developing that they're trying to get their charge shot. Card's going to stop that at least a good bit. But we have the charge shot online now, and now we get to play a fun game of, is he going to shoot or while I'm crouching, or is he going to catch me in the air?
Can we talk about this hitbox though? Can we talk about why Cookie and Can literally punched Magician, and I messed the spot, but you saw it, bro. Like, this is crazy.
Yes. For some reason, I feel like Cookie and Can's down tilt hitbox is not as big as it should be. I'm scared to make it bigger because 2 frames, of course, but it feels like it definitely should be bigger.
And I don't know if you noticed this, but I see the Magician constantly going into hat, anticipating Cookie and Can to do aerials or do something exactly like that, ducking under the aerials. So I guess, you told me earlier that Japanese players recently didn't know about the crouch, so I think is Saya a LuckyWhammy fan?
I think it was literally like a week ago, we had told Mango about it, and it was me and SNES. I think Dima was also in the call. We had sent him a clip of exactly what he can crouch underneath, at least with Civi, and he was very surprised and very intrigued about spreading that information. Even getting SNES to post on Twitter so that Mango could share it with a lot of the other Japanese players. Right. Just to show this is a new gateway of matchup knowledge that can be implemented. And I think another reason that the crouching is also useful in this matchup, I think Saya is hesitant to throw out a side special projectile from Cookie and Can with the fact that it could be reflected back at him.
Okay, so you know what? That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that, because I usually Saki like always goes for, when I see him in other matches, always goes for a ton of side B. But yeah, that reflector is definitely a big deal. So
especially the landing hitbox.
Yeah.
Because if that landing hitbox gets reflected, that means Magician gets that much more time to combo or set up off of it. But now we're seeing the reliable Magician up airs. Speaking of reliable moves from Magician, that catches the landing.
That was really nice.
I really like the fact that he jumped in the air recognizing it was going to be a get-up attack. Once he recognized it was going to be a get-up attack, he knew he had to be on the ground to confirm the up special.
That is crazy. You know how that's mad high level. I just want to break this down real quick. So you know you're going for that the set knockback is only from grounded up B. He knows this. He jumps over the get up attack, lands on the ground, immediately does the up special and gets that confirmed.
Not just did he jump over it, but because the area he was jumping in, he was ready to react to any option that was not jump from ledge. There we see it right there.
Yep. Take a look at
we
that
see
again.
The reason why side special is not coming out in full force in this match. It's one of Cookie and Can's best tools in neutral, and right there we see it getting reflected, which means Magician just has that much more time to go ahead.
Cookie and Can gets punished by the side B. Yep. Good call out. We're just gonna remind it, see that one more time, and we'll keep playing. Almost got a card confirm off that too.
Yes. If Cookie and Can was willing, we have the call right here. This is something that I've started to implement myself, but I think Magician can definitely get away with. If Magician throwing down his hat and is immediately ready to pop it, you have to respect it or challenge the hat itself, not Magician.
Yo, Saya is so good because that's one of Cookie and Can's best tools, right? But the up tilt, I mean. And then you see him fishing for it immediately. Literally just saw one, knows he's gonna go for the up tilt. Immediately says, yo, let me drop this hat because you're chasing me with up tilts, and I'm just gonna pop you up with statue. That's crazy.
Now I will say that is the luckiest thing ever, because if you it may be hard to tell on the skin, that was golden statue. That's the only reason
that
he
was
killed
golden
that early.
Statue?
Yes. I really like this.
Run that back. Let me see. What? That was golden. Dude, these Magician skins are pay to win, bro. I'm sorry.
It looks so nice though. I really love the skin. Please come back. Cookie and Can's definitely at a disadvantage here. That said, once you see a lot of Magician's tools, you can start to get used to them, get back in your own groove, and start to build back up momentum.
Right, and one thing I want to talk about, we have been hyping up Saya a lot, but the one really good thing that I noticed Cookie and Can players don't do, which I feel like they should do more often, and you were talking about this with me yesterday when we were playing some Dittos, but Saki right here throws out the charge shot in disadvantage. It is so fast, you literally cannot react. You can't react to the blast, especially if you're this close. Maybe you can react if you're, near far, the full stage of the map. But when you're this close and closer, you cannot react to Cookie and Can shooting that fully charged missile blast. And it kills super early. And you do it at disadvantage when the opponent naturally wants to press advantage. So, I mean, look, Saki already knew this, immediately started charging because you knew obviously that wasn't going to kill. But that's a good tool that he uses that more Cooking Cans need to use.
At worst case, it resets neutral. The best case is that it gets you back in advantage state. And we saw right there, side B ledge trapping, the angle specifically tomb framing with the landing hitbox. And that's a really, really effective edge guard method.
Absolutely.
I think finding that angle is exactly what Cooking Cans want to start doing, especially with something that can do a lot of damage. We're seeing a lot of risk in this down air.
Look at this. Look at the space. I know I keep talking about Saya a lot, but the tools I see him use in neutral is just hide and crouch. Completely nullifies immediately half of Cooking Can's toolkit, right, of approach. You do that. You keep running up, crouching. Cooking can shields because they don't know when the down tilt is gonna come out. Pressures that on shield. It's a safe move, by the way. Tries to grab, punish it, down air. Like this quick decision making, like it's these little interactions that, like, oh my gosh, are you serious?
Ooh,
Are you
and
serious?
we see the charge shot come out. So one thing that I mentioned, I'm not sure how useful it would be, is because depending on the projectile's depending on the projectile's height, if it doesn't hit crouch, it won't reflect. But because the projectile gets bigger when it's 4 shot, or when it's the times 4 shot, it's just big enough to hit Magician while he's crouching, which means it's also just big enough to reflect.
And remember earlier I talked about how if you're this close, you can't react to it. Now, you still can't react to it, but I want to point out that Saya, throughout this entire match, has been constantly ducking in neutral in anticipation for retaliation. So it's literally just Saya could have just made a big brain play, but we've seen that Saya constantly has been like ducking in neutral, and that's his like go-to approach option since it's such a safe move. You can get down tilt off of it, obviously. So you see it in full force right there. He gets the down tilt reflector sticker, obviously, and gets the punish on Cooking Can. It's just crazy.
If you go back real quick, you'll see something that happens off screen.
Okay.
Right when he goes off for this edge guard, you'll see him return and pop a statue. Woo. The reason why is because he was running back over to it so he could throw the card off of it.
Getting card off statue, what does that do again? For all the viewers
when you're throwing before a card ricochets, if you throw the card into the statue, it will then bounce back horizontally, becoming a semi-transcendent projectile. At least making your opponent respect it a little bit more.
Oh my, bruh.
And we see this up special. Homie called him out.
He did the grounded one, and then
horizontal.
The grounded horizontal one. Yep. And is that a normal thing where Magician doesn't like fall off the stage when you do it grounded? Like, will he never fall off the stage?
Magician, if you're going fully horizontal, will go to the edge of the platform you're currently on. So if that happens to be the stage, he'll go right to the edge. If it happens to be a platform that he's on, he'll go all the way to the edge of the platform. The reason why it has to be only horizontal, because if you hold up or down, you'll go off stage and go to ledge.
That's just a sick punish, man. Honestly, great job by both players. I do want to say Saki had it looked like a little bit of matchup knowledge that he lacked, because when you were teaching me the matchup, you told me to attack hat constantly, which I didn't see Saki doing a lot. Kind of let the hat do whatever it wanted to do. He got his statue setups. He didn't go for many statue setups, obviously, but he went for a lot. And I feel like Saki just wasn't really attacking the hat like you really need to do when you're fighting Magician.
I'm curious to see the sticker setup, and the reason why I say that is because that's the golden statue that sealed off second stock killed a lot earlier than I was expecting it to. Not saying it's impossible for Magician to sneak kills that early, but on that, from I think if we go back and see the percentage, it might have been around 54% that he stole that kill away. It was earlier, the second stock from Cooking Can. I think that was a lot earlier of a percentage window.
Just lost the second stock. Okay, cool. Right here?
Yeah. So he was at around...
Yo, that is early. That's crazy.
So if I had to assume, he didn't have special defense stickers on. Because I don't... at least in my experience, I don't remember golden statues killing that early. That said, he was also a little bit off the ground, so I think that also played a factor into it, but you definitely want special defense stickers on.
Right. No, and also I do want to point out that Saki is definitely like playing Cooking Can the way you need to be playing Cookie and Can. Like you want to make sure your charge shot is always charged up all the way, your neutral special, and then you also want to edge guard, as we just saw there with the kill with side B. So like I said, Saki was still playing Cookie and Can at a supremely high level, but I think it's just a little bit of lack of knowledge with the reflector hat and not hitting the spinning hat, which kind of led to the downfall. Like I said, we were just looking at that last match. Did use Sandy in an earlier match, I believe. Oh, I gotta add.
Lol.
But yeah, he was using Sandy. I don't know if he won this match. Oh, he did win this match. Interesting.
I was gonna say against Magician, Sandy gets put through his paces. It's another matchup where, of course, Sandy can win it because he is Sandy. That said, Magician has the tools to make getting Sandy combos very difficult. Sandy struggles, of course, with range. His goal is to close the gap and make sure that range doesn't become a problem. And Hat is spinning and is there to trade with Sandy jab or Sandy side B to ensure that Sandy always has to keep Hat in the forefront of his mind.
Right. All right. So with that being said, with the match that we just saw with Cookie and Can, what takeaways do you think that you're taking from Saya? Like what things did you really like Saya doing, and what things do you think, if any, there doesn't have to be any, but what things do you think that you might need to improve on?
I think personally, one thing I always want to improve on is making sure I work with what I have. So if I currently have to land sweet spots for my aerials to make sure that they're most effective, I gotta land those sweet spots for my aerials. Specifically, I think the spacing with down air is one of those things where I think down air is a huge hitbox, but if you don't get the sweet spot, you don't get exactly what you want off of it. Because
so
of course,
are you saying that Saya wasn't hitting the sweet spot as much as he probably should have?
I think he was hitting it more than I do currently.
Oh, okay. So
and that's something that
you wanted to take. Okay.
Yeah. I think one thing I'd like to see more is using Hat spin. Of course, Hat was set up in certain scenarios, as we mentioned beforehand, where he was popping it off stage to get that horizontal projectile ready for Cookie and Can returning. But I think Hat spin is still something I want to see a little bit more of. But of course, I understand the difficult situation of trying to get that hat spin implemented while also continuing to play neutral with that on your mind. It's definitely something that you have to. I myself get caught looking at my hat to make sure it's in a good spot to spin it towards my opponent, not looking at my opponent. So I could understand it being a difficult thing to set up, but I think mastering the puppet nature of moving hat where you want it to be or where your opponent doesn't want it to be is something that I'd like to see implemented. Aside from that, the call outs in neutral were something that I really do enjoy seeing about Magician, because truly Magician needs all that he can grab from people in neutral or in the advantage state, and making sure that you put your opponent on notice that you will call them out in neutral, puts them on edge, or put them in the scenario to get hit by more projectiles to get set up into more aerials.
All right, sounds good. Well, at the courtesy of not making this video too damn long, I think we're gonna end it here. We got some good knowledge from the Magician Master himself, LuckyWhammy. This has been obviously your boy Megaplox. We are both under Ego. All right, Ego Nation, Ego all day, Ego the best clan, NA, don't care. So yeah, man, thanks for coming on to the video with me, man. We're gonna do a lot more of these in the future, bro.
Hey, thank you for having me, and again, I can't wait to watch the Flash Party scene thrive in America.
Absolutely. By the way, let me look into the camera. Flash Party devs, please have this game come out on console. Any console will do. I don't care if it's the Switch, the Xbox, the PS5. Please have this game come out on console. It will tremendously increase the player base. So, we don't have matches where we're waiting for like 10, 20 minutes for doubles. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
All right, peace out, everybody.
Deuces.